2013 bow season opens in Missouri in a couple of days. Fortunately, we have more hit list bucks than we have days till season opens.
Growing Deer TV is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops, also by Reconics, Trophy Rock, Muddy Outdoors, Non-Typical Wildlife Solution, Eagle Seed, Nikon, Winchester, Redneck Hunting Blind, Dead Downwind, Record Rack, Antler Dirt, Lacrosse Footwear, Set Master, Bloodsport Arrows, and Prime Bows by G5.
I'm sure many of y'all remember that we had a wicked outbreak of HD, hemorrhagic disease, here at the Proving Grounds last year. Along with that HD outbreak, you probably remember all the skulls my wife Tracy and her lab Crystal found last year.
Good girl, look at that. Good girl.
Those concerns have somewhat drifted away as we finished our trail camera survey, and we've identified 7 bucks at the Proving Grounds we think are 4 years old or older. Leading off our hit list this year is a buck we call Split Brow. I'm really excited to see Split Brow. We have enough years of trail camera images to know he's about 7.5 years old. Split Brow is certainly mature and a proven survivor, but this year we've kind of honed in on him, spent more time scouting and studying the Reconics patterns. We've got some new mud he's hung in his home range, and I think we got a good chance of tagging Split Brow this year. We call the next buck on our hit list Two-Face. This year he's a mainframe 10 with some stickers and certainly would be a trophy in my book. Another 5.5-year-old at the Proving Grounds is Funky 10. We had a great encounter with Funky 10 2 years ago when we were in a redneck blind in a food plot we call Big Boom. 2 years have gone by and Funky 10 has put on some tine length, and most times when bucks get older, they condense their home range, and we know that part of the farm. I'm looking forward to an encounter with Funky 10. Jackknife had a pass last year because we estimated he was 3.5 years old. He's hanging in the same area as he did last year, although his rack has changed a little bit. We're very confident it's the same buck and feeling good about getting in front of Jackknife. Last year, Perfecto 10 only visited one camera site, so we may have been barely on the edge of his range. This year, we've got him on 2 different Reconics stations, and hopefully we get a pattern going so we can have an encounter. A casualty of HD here last year was a great buck we used to call Pitchfork. And we knew he had a son coming on because the rack looked almost identical to Pitchfork's rack. Junior's rack is extremely similar to what Pitchfork's was, and he's kind of using the same range. Hopefully we can do a better job of dialing in on Junior than we did Pitchfork. There's a food plot on our property named after my youngest daughter, Ray. Last year there was a beautiful 8-pointer that was 3 years old that spent a lot of time around that food plot. We called that deer Perfect 8, and he obviously survived HD because there's the same version of Perfect 8, a little bigger, right around Ray's food plot. This year, after a lot of the acorns are consumed, we'll probably be spending a lot of time in that redneck blind overlooking Ray's plot, and hopefully one of us can tag Perfect 8. Early September, we're in a food plot we call Crabapple, and it probably looks a little odd. You can see tire tracks going through here, and that's because we used a no-till drill to put seed right amongst the standing beans. These soybeans clearly fed the deer herd all summer, but due to the drought, it looked like they were only going to make 10, maybe 15 bushels per acre of the actual beans. And although that's hundreds of pounds of really high-quality feed per acre, we knew we could add more without taking much away. Between the tractor tracks and the fertilizer truck and a no-till drill, we probably damaged somewhere around 50% of the beans. That means we've still got plenty of beans until Eagle Seed's broadside, what we just planted, germinates, comes up, and starts making a very attractive food source. The no-till drill was a perfect solution to apply to seed without disking and losing whatever soil moisture we have and not damaging the crop too much so we don't clean the table. Eagle's broadside blend will germinate with the very first rain, come up with a mix of brassicas, wheat, and brand new soybeans. There's nothing more palatable than young, lush soybeans, and keep the deer feeding right here from right now through the pre-rut, the rut, and in the late season. We're 6 days after Adam planted, and we're gonna have germination an inch or two tall. I can clearly see the wheat stems, and the radishes and brassicas, I can't tell the difference at this stage of development. What's more impressive is even in shade here, we are absolutely powder dry. Hard-sided seed like brassicas and radishes and even some wheat are really good at laying there and not germinating or germinating in harsh conditions. The extended forecast showed a dry spell coming on, but Adam hustled and planted, and we got germination as a result of his effort. We knew the extended forecast didn't show any rain, but we went ahead and planted because we're less than 45 days from the first expected frost. It's always very rewarding to see seedlings coming out of the ground after you've planted, but I've still got some concerns as we really need some moisture to turn those seedlings into a good crop and be an attraction for deer this fall. It's one thing to sight your bow in, but it's another thing to shoot from an elevated position at a 3D target and get everything ready for that moment of truth. Easy way for us to practice out of an elevated blind, simply get upstairs in the storage area here at GrowingDeer.tv, open up the garage door, put a 3D target down the slope of the yard, and practice right out through the door. It may sound like a redneck shooting out of the barn, but here in a few days when Adam and I are up in a tree stand, I'm gonna have total confidence shooting from an elevated blind. Only 6 days until Missouri's bow season opens, and I think it's critical that all archers take the opportunity to practice from an elevated position if they're gonna hunt out of a tree stand. It's tempting to aim halfway up or the center so you think you got a better chance, but most deer are gonna hear the bow or the arrow or just a little something, and as they duck to load the legs, get out of there, they're dropping a number of inches. So if you're gonna aim in the bottom third, and if the deer doesn't move at all, great, you've taken the heart out and it's a really short blood trail. If they do come down, you're still in the lungs and recover the deer. These all look like really good shot placement. You can see the entry looks really good, but let's look at the backside to see where the exit is. Because of the angle, I actually come out in the front leg here, probably in front of the lungs on this one, and okay here. My whole sight pattern, you need to be back a little bit, always thinking about where the arrow is going to exit on the far side of the deer. Remember, as a bow hunter, our whole objective is to take out both lungs and the animal will go down quickly, being very humane and a short blood trail. To accomplish that, it's just as important to think about where the exit is of the arrow and make sure it's in the kill zone. Whether it's already hunting season at your place or you're doing those last-minute preparations, don't forget to enjoy creation and most importantly, take time to listen to what the Creator is saying to you. Thanks for watching GrowingDeer.tv.
Well, I thought I would film this clip right here just to show you how rocky it really is. A lot. It almost takes hearing protection to run a drill around here.